Hello, everybody, and welcome to another podcast edition for the Clifftop Challenge. Clifftop Challenge, where you can take a trip to the wild side. Once again, this podcast brought to you by True Fleece Merino and, of course, Team CP, your endurance coaching specialists. I'm Angus Petrie, and, of course, there would be no punch without Judy. So joining me, as always, one and only Mr. Richard Greer. Richard Greer, welcome back.
Yeah, thank you, Angus. Looking forward to this episode, actually. We kicked off, this is season 1, episode 2. So we kicked off talking as a big intro about what the event is about. There was a lot to cover, but today we're going to get a little bit more specific on things, specifically paddling, and then have a chat to someone that's actually done a bit of the course as well, Fiona Stechmann, who's also one of our coaching team that was out there for a recce day. And also we're keen to check in with Kerry Uren about developments, what she's been up to, what's going on. She's a person that's pretty busy, so I'm sure there's some interesting stuff that she's added to the mix amongst the event itself.
Yeah, and as we say, we've been saying this since this Clifftop Challenge came about. It's great to have something on our back doorstep, just about, like it's only just over the hill. And two, just to have another multi-sport race in the community. There's a lot of talk about that big one that happens every February, and in that community, there's always a lot of talk about we need more of these things. So here it is, people, the Clifftop Challenge, and this one will certainly be a challenge.
It certainly will be. And I like it, to take a trip to the wild side. It's really interesting living in Canterbury, isn't it? It's a different world over in Banks Peninsula and Akaroa and Le Bons Bay specifically. So, and it's not somewhere that we tend to explore particularly often. I've only been there once as a trip at Le Bons Bay once. Yep. We paddled from Sumner with the view of paddling to Akaroa. Didn't quite make it. Got a little bit rocky and rolly. The weather turned. There was a couple of interesting moments, and then called the Mayday call at Le Bons Bay. Had an extra night. Fantastic place, and awesome bit of surfing and sea kayaks. But yep, that was the only time I've actually been there before.
That's a pretty good effort, really, isn't it, to paddle around to there? But it is Banks Peninsula. I'm lucky enough. My folks, they live in Devotials, just not far from Le Bons Bay, really. And every time we go over there and we just crest the hill past the Hilltop pub, she's like a whole new world over there. It's just an adventure playground, and so much to do and see over there, whether it's in the water or riding a bike up a gravel road or going for a run, mate. Which, what do you know? The Clifftop has all three of those.
Good. Maybe we should turn up. Sounds good.
Well,
and true. I'm sure you'll be there in some way, shape, or form, Angus, even if it's just in spirit. We'd love to hear your feedback during the show. True Fleece Merino are the show sponsors, and last time we had a True Fleece beanie or buff to give away as a result of making a comment during the show, and we've got a winner as well from last time, Angus.
Yeah, Nikki Caird, is it? Caird?
Yes, that's correct.
Yep. So she won. So we'll. Have you talked to her? Does she want a beanie or a buff?
Well, I'm not sure. She doesn't know it until today. So we'll get that in the post anyway to her. So I'm sure Kerry will get that sorted.
Yeah, I thought you might have already pre-talked her in the background. But there you go. Congratulations, Nikki. We will be in touch and about whether you do want a beanie or a buff then in that case. And it'll be out in the post. So like Rich says, don't forget, make a comment, some chat in our Facebook page or however you're watching this or listening. Send us a message if you've listened to this as a podcast. Just send a message to the CP Facebook page or something and say, hey, I was listening to the podcast.
Yep, absolutely. And you will go in the draw for next time as well. So these prizes are real. They will arrive at your doorstep. So jump in the draw.
Beautiful. Cool show tonight, mate. Like you opened with, you said that we're going to talk a bit of paddling and a bit of running, but specifically we're going to dive deep into that paddle zone, really, aren't we?
Yeah, with Keith Jessop from Flow Kayaks. So really keen to have a bit of a chat to him. He's one of the sponsors that have come on board for this event in the same way that you mentioned at the start of the show, just getting behind a local multi-sport event. So pretty cool that they're in from the ground up, which is awesome. And also going to talk to Todd Kraiger of River Ninjas as well. So Todd's got an awesome business that he kicked off last year as a kayak hire business. It's been sitting out there waiting for someone to sort of take charge and actually do that and own that space. So pretty cool to talk to Todd as well as part of this. And that all of a sudden opens up for people to come from anywhere to do this event. You don't have to be sort of local and have your boat on your roof. You can fly in from anywhere. So yeah, pretty keen to hear what Todd has to say and what boats he's got available and how he can help us out.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm keen for everybody to hire one from him because I'm really keen to watch him tow his trailer down into Le Bons Bay there with all those kayaks on. That could be just a that's the first Clifftop challenge, probably getting down there with them all.
So you will be there, Angus, videoing that. Not that you like a bit of carnage.
Yeah. Right, shall we
Good
crack
stuff.
on with the show,
I
mate?
think we should crack on. Absolutely.
So we're going to bring Fiona in to start with, CP coach,
so.
Fiona Stechmann, and she has already been over to Le Bons Bay and checked out the course. So we're just going to get a little update as to what she's seen and what we can expect. Welcome, Fiona.
Hey, how you going?
Very good. How are you?
Yeah, well.
Good stuff. Hey, Fiona, you've been you've got an extensive background of being an outdoor instructor for lots of years. You've been coaching for us for the last 3 or 4 years. You've also completed the Longest Day, God Zone, and lots of other events, plus all sorts of missions all over the place. So you've got a pretty good understanding of what makes a good adventure and how to prepare for one, and also how to perform on race day. So I guess you've been over there at Day Dot as a bit of filming that they did. So give us a bit of your understanding of what this event is actually about.
Yeah, we got really lucky and got invited over to come have a look at the course and go for a bit of a paddle out in the bay, which was really fun. There was some little bit of surf on the day that we went out, which was exciting, but not too scary. So that was good. And yeah, we went for a good wee paddle out in the bay, and then we had a bit of a play on the mountain bikes. I didn't bike up the crazy steep road, so I can't give you a lot of feedback on that. But we did have a lot of fun ripping down the other side of the road, so coming down back into the bay. And yeah, and then we got to go for a run around on the farm, which was brilliant. So really varied terrain, so sort of some farm paddocks, some 4-wheel drive, and some really nice old bush that they've been regenerating and taking care of, and some little streams to cross, and then you also get to run right out around the end of the farm, I suppose, past the lighthouse and right along the cliff, which gives you the name of the Clifftop challenge. So there was a little bit of exposure there. So if you're not super confident on your feet, you'd probably be taking that a little bit slower. But it was really fun and varied course to run around.
Awesome. It's pretty cool. Oh, sorry, carry on, Angus.
I was just going to say, is there a few ankle breakers in there?
Yeah, there was a little bit of cowpox terrain, so just being
that's to keep your feet warm on a cold morning.
Yeah, not so much the cow pats, but where they've stuck their big hooves in the mud and left big holes. I mean, I suppose there might be some cow pats as well, but we avoided those. Yeah. So a few ankle breakers out there if you're not paying attention.
Yeah, nice. It's really nice to hear about that regenerating bush as well, isn't it? That's super nice to sort of be able to see what that's about and get a real feel for what the peninsula used to be like in the old days.
Yeah. And when we were out there, we even spotted a whole bunch of wild deer and stuff, which we were lucky enough to run with the owner of the farm, and he said that they just hunt the odd one to keep the numbers down.
Oh, right. How good is that? That's awesome. I guess that just shows you how big a place this is. It's not sort of all sort of intensively farm like the Canterbury Plains. You couldn't have a herd of deer just cruising around. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. Yep.
Nice. So tell us a little bit more. So the run, it's not just a walk in the park, is it? There is the big run is 30 odd Ks, and there's a 15K event as well. So it's and especially when you start pairing that with that multi-sport event as well. What do you think in terms of actually how we're going to do this? Like, how are we going to pace ourselves? Because there's a fair bit of vert in there as well, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, again, we didn't do the whole of the 30K course. We got to just kind of cherry pick the best bits. So yeah, it's a decent day out. I wouldn't underestimate it. I think the shorter trail run, so I think there's a 10 and 15K option as well as the 30. Mm-hmm. I think that shorter trail run, would be doable for the vast majority of people. And as a run or a walk. But yeah, that 30K option, you need to be fit. You need to be strong and able to get up some hills and get over some rough terrain. So yeah.
Nice. So how would you best prepare? What would you say some key tips on preparing for this if this is on your list in November?
Oh, I mean, I think you need to be doing a bit of running if the trail run's what you're out for.
Yeah.
It'll be like any of these events. You need to be doing some specific training. So if you're going for the multi-sport, then getting out on your mountain bike and getting out into the ocean in your kayak, not just on the Avon River, practicing doing some of that, launching and landing waves, on a safe day out at Sumner Beach, making sure you can get your spray skirt on, all that kind of stuff. And then for the run, finding some mixed terrain, so not just running up Rapaki, but getting on some of that stuff that's a bit rough underfoot and having a bit of a play around with that.
Nice. And you mentioned as we're just warming up for the show, actually, in regards to which boat that you should go for. What are the options there? You talked about getting a spray deck on while you've got some waves around you as well. What are your thoughts about a surf ski versus a multi-sport boat?
I think if you've got access to a surf ski and you've spent some time paddling it, it's a brilliant option. You can grab it, chuck it out in the waves, jump on, and you're away. You don't need to worry about your boat filling up. You don't need to worry if you do fall off out in the ocean. You can just jump back up on it. Once you are out in the bay, there are not really any easy places to land if you do come out of your boat, in terms of swimming to shore and emptying it. So if you think that may be you, then a surf ski may be, a better option for that day.
I guess it just also comes back to stability, doesn't it? If you're going with a multi-sport boat, hey, and you've got a beginner multi-sport boat, do I try and source a sea kayak? That might be something that's a bit more stable, so then I can have a good day out there. If you're in a racy, tippy riverboat, well, maybe you just take a step down on that particular day, so you can actually put the oomph into paddling rather than sort of wobbling and being nervous and the potential risk for falling out. And that's they'll have safety out there, obviously, but they can't get around everybody all the time. So you've got to look after yourself as best as you can and making sure that you're safe for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it might be glass, it might be flat as a pancake and beautiful. So, if you've got a few different options and you're not sure which one you want to paddle, maybe you bring both and decide on the day.
Yeah, nice. So you've obviously saved the steep hill to run and bike up for race day, Fiona.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. It's a bit intimidating. 45 degrees. That sounds pretty intimidating.
Yeah, it does. You might need the microspikes to be able to get up that.
Yeah. I think it would be a bit of a push for me on the bike, as in get off and walk push on the bike.
Yeah. Bit of groveling. No one ever hesitated with a bit of groveling though. You enjoy that.
Oh yeah, I don't mind a bit of a grovel. No.
Nice. So anything else that you learnt, anything else to share in regards to the Clifftop Challenge course that might be useful for others?
I mean, a little bit like you, Richard, saying you hadn't been out there much. I haven't really spent any time on that part of the peninsula, and it's just fantastic. Like, such a cool place. If you can get the time to head over there and go and do the Clifftop Challenge, I'd highly recommend it. The views were amazing. The run and bike might be slower than you're expecting just because you have to keep looking up and looking at the views. So yeah, if you can manage to fit it in your schedule, then get on out there.
Good job. Well done, Fiona. Hey,
4th of November is not very far away, Fiona, is it really, when we start looking at it now? So should we be training, really focusing there? If this is our goal, should we be, have we still got plenty of time up our sleeve to make decisions here?
I mean, I think it's a good time to commit to something now. If it's early November, there's still plenty of time to train for it, and there's a lot of options. There's a bunch of different options that you can choose for the Clifftop Challenge. So there's something there for everyone. But yeah, absolutely. I think if you're thinking about it, now's a good time to commit, and then start thinking about what your training plan is, what your goals are. Are you just trying to finish, or are you one of these people who wants to do the absolute best that they can and see how far up the field they get? In which case, your training's going to be quite different from someone who's just out for a 10K walk day.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you, Fiona. Thanks for jumping on and sharing a little bit of an insight as to what everybody's going to have in store for them on that run. Like you say, a bit of mixed terrain there, some gravel roads and some farm tracks and some cow pats and all the good things that make a good adventure, right?
Yeah, too right. Yep. No, we had a great day out there. So, yep, I think everyone
Excellent.
else will too.
Good job. Well done, Fiona. Thanks for joining us.
Catch you later.
Cool.
Yep.
Good job. Just like that.
So you haven't been and seen it yet, have you?
I haven't. No, I haven't. So I'm pretty excited about it, actually, just as you say, like to go and suss it out, have an adventure. I do enjoy doing like a new event, whatever that event might be. And I've done a few these days. So yeah, it's cool. And Kerry does run a really good event. She makes sure that she does do the little things right to make sure you have a good experience rather than just putting this course on. So yeah, really looking forward to being involved in it on race day.
So you are going to go in blind then?
Oh yeah, that's right. It's the only way, isn't it?
I don't know.
It's happened badly for me before, but so why do we change?
Just wasn't sure whether you're going to do a midnight trip and sneak over there, and
Well, it could do, but I mean, it's more fun just to turn up, isn't it, and just have a crack and see what happens. Which way are we going, left or right? Okay, let's go left. Yeah,
beautiful.
So it should be good.
Hey, look. Next up, we're going to bring Keith Jessop on. Now, Keith is the man behind Flow Kayaks. So, of course, as we were just saying, there's maybe a choice of different kayaks that you could use along the way, whether it be a surf ski or a multi-sport kayak or whatever. But here's what we should do: is just bring Keith into the podcast. Welcome, Keith. How are you?
Oh, pretty good, thank you. And just to clarify, there are actually two of us behind Flow Kayaks. So let's not forget my business partner, Chris, who obviously makes a major contribution to the business with his background in paddling, surf skis. He's a mind full of information.
You're clearly the pretty face of the company, though, are you?
Those aren't my words.
Claim it, Keith. Claim it. That's awesome. Hey, Keith, tell us a bit about your background. How long have you been involved in the multisport world, and how did you first get into multisport as such itself?
Well, I actually blame you, Richard. Actually, you and Tom. You and Tom, I think, joined forces and managed to twist my arm. So Tom Downs is my coach. He's from Koha Gym, and he's been my coach for over 10 years. And I've been talking to him about the coast to coast for a long time. And then in 2015, he finally got sick of me talking about it and said, well, if you're serious, here's a guy to go and talk to. And that was you.
Yeah,
so that's what I did. And I think I caught up with you in September 2015. And I think he took one look at me and said, well, this is going to be a big hurdle to overcome. Getting ready for February 2016. But you did. And that's how I got into it. I've been doing it ever since.
Fantastic. And you've not just got yourself into it, you've got your whole business into it as well, like actually traveling over there, everybody's doing it, supporting it. That's been a big part of your journey as well with multisport, hasn't it?
Yeah, we have done. My software company, I've taken a bit of a breather for the last couple of years, but we have had the whole team involved at various times over the time. They wanted to see if I would survive it first, and then I managed to get a couple of guys to do the individual event, and then the next year we got two teams and did a few teams every year.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it? That just shows you how passionate you are and passionate about multisport, and obviously that's a key part of why we're talking to you today as well. So, so let's talk about Flow Kayaks specifically. How long you've been involved in Flow Kayaks, and tell us a bit more about that journey for yourself.
Yeah, well, actually, Chris, my kayak coach, Chris Stagg, who's my business partner, came to me in 2017 and said, you bought a Rockstar, and the company Flow Kayaks that you bought the Rockstar from is actually up for sale. Are you interested in he called it a retirement hobby. I said, yeah, why not? I've got nothing else to do. So we bought it from a guy called Neil Taylor, who actually had it for 3 years after buying it from Richard Usher and Andrew Martin. So we started off with a subcontractor, and then we were with them for about 18 months making the kayaks in Christchurch. then got our own small factory in Sydenham. And in October last year, we moved to quite a large facility in Wainoni, just near Arawa.
Brilliant. Yeah, fantastic. So why are Flow Kayaks partnering with the Clifftop Challenge? What's in it for you guys?
I think it's what you said earlier on. It's partly a passion about multi-sport, but it's also a passion about giving more people the opportunity to do a really exciting outdoor activity that helps them keep fit, get fit and keep fit. And particularly, we're keen on getting younger people into the sport and getting them into the fitness mindset quite earlier on in their lives. Yeah, so those two things really.
Yeah, fantastic. And the beauty of paddling is that there's no impact there, is it? It's yes, it's a full body sport in terms of good technique, but it's not like so. I guess it's accessible to a lot of people as long as they can get in and out of their boat and feel confident there. I mean, we can be doing this until we're whenever, how old, sort of thing, can't we? It's not like running when you have to have good knees.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that's the case, Richard, because I can't see the day when I stop paddling. And you're right, we've got great facilities here. We've got the Avon River, and the Arawa Club operate from there. It's a very good club. And you talked earlier about, and you're going to talk to Todd later on, and he set up that rental fleet. So the sport's just becoming more and more accessible for people, and that's really what we want, to just give everybody the opportunity to try the sport, because it's fantastic being out on the water, whether it's just paddling on the flat water in the Avon, or taking on the Waimak, the grade 2, or the surf in Littleton. Or it's all really exhilarating stuff.
Yeah, nice. So what makes Flow Kayaks different from other kayak manufacturers out there in the market currently?
Well, our competitors would probably disagree, but we think we've got probably the most competitive boats in their classes. That's one thing. And we have, they were designed, Andrew Martin was obviously a big influence on the design, and we all know his capability, and Richard Usher. And so we're lucky to have that pedigree, and it's really paid off, because, we see our boats certainly in the top 10 male and female pretty consistently there, and also at the sort of beginner intermediate level. We have a boat that fits that mark. It doesn't fit everybody, but it's got a good place there. And of course we have the surf skis as well, which are models on the Addict and the Rockstar. They have the same hull, so they behave in a similar manner in the water. Obviously, it's different with the underhull rudder versus the tail rudder, but the principle, certainly the hydrodynamics, are very similar. So it's easy to go from one to the other.
Nice. Just out of interest, has design changed, like, since Andrew Martin and Richard Usher started this? Has design changed along the way? Have you guys made any design changes?
We've made changes. We haven't made any changes to the hull and deck. But we have made changes to other parts of the boat, things like the foot plates, a little bit of modification of the rudder assembly. We've certainly changed the way they're laid up. We're trying to make them stronger, lighter, using more environmentally friendly materials. So we're sort of going down that path. We do have a bit of R&D going on another boat that I'll expand on when I can. Not at the moment.
Will it be at race?
We were going to get a scoop then. Thought we were going to get a scoop.
Almost.
Probably it's going to be 3 to 4 weeks away. So.
Okay. All right. So we'll be ready for race day then.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Would it be the right boat for race day?
Frankly, sorry.
I was going to ask. So, are you going to paddle it, Keith? Like, where are we at here? Who's going to be paddling this? No, well done. We won't. We'll hold back from that line of questioning. So you, as we mentioned, like, you've been involved in training and racing for what's that? A good 8 years now, from that 2015 when you first sort of got into this thing. What tips would you give to others that are lining up for the event, specifically the kayak section? I guess is what we're talking about.
specifically the kayak, well, first of all, get some really good training from, we've got some pretty good training organizations here, the two that do the grade 2, Top Sport and Canterbury Kayaking. Just that should really be your first step. Don't buy a boat until you've done that course, and so they'll give you guidance on what boat to buy, and they'll make a recommendation, as would you, Richard, on which boat to buy that suits your capability. But get that grade 2 done and just get out in the water as much as possible. It's like anything, especially if you're doing the grade 2 type paddling, or even ocean paddling. As Fiona said earlier on, get out into the harbour, see what it feels like, to get into the boat, because it's not the same as getting into the boat in the harbour as it is getting into the boat from the side of a river. So experience those different things, really. The more time, the better. And continue with the
Sorry, Keith, what about when we're in the waves? Is there any pointers for, for line of sight, or how we should be looking, where we should be looking when we're sort of bobbing up and down, if we happen to have a wave or two there? What's the technique and trick there for actually getting through one of those?
That's an unfair question for me. That's why I've got Chris and you, Richard. I'm, as far their people are a lot more experienced than I am. So what do? I follow what I'm told to do is paddle hard, look ahead, look to where you want to go. Just relax and try and separate your lower and upper part of your body. Particularly relax your legs. That was one thing I really struggled for quite a while in the multi-sport boat, was relaxing my legs. And once I figured that out, it was amazing how much more stable I became. So that's a big factor in those boats. Stay relaxed.
Yeah, that's great advice. And especially like when, if there's some waves going against the cliff and they're bouncing back off and you get these pyramid waves going on, that's when that relaxing, you've got to just let your boat kind of do what it wants to do as you're sort of paddling through that stuff. It's all fine, but as soon as you stiffen up, then it just that's tricky and you start second guessing yourself, and that's when you start putting yourself into problems. So that's really good advice.
Yeah, well, that's the point. The boat knows what it's doing, so you just have to trust it. It was designed by experts. So.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's awesome, Keith. Hey, thank you so much for joining us, Keith. That's really insightful and great to have you involved in the Clifftop Challenge. Well done for getting involved, as I say, like in the first year of the event, and thanks for supporting the multi-sport community. So I look forward to seeing you over there on race day and having an adventure together.
Thank you, Richard. And we really appreciate the opportunity. It's been wonderful to work with Kerry. As you pointed out earlier, she's great to work with. She puts on a great event. She's been awesome to work with. So we're really looking forward to it.
Good job.
Great.
Well done. Thanks, Keith.
Thanks, Keith.
Thanks.
Just got to relax, mate. Just got to relax. And
the
boat will do it all for you, apparently. Right?
You still got to do some paddling. There's a bit of this going on, though, isn't it?
Oh, it's not my favorite thing.
Is it not? No.
Well, it's not my favorite thing. Like say that, and you could be paddling down through the Waimak Gorge on a beautiful day, and the water's crystal clear, and it's goddamn lovely. I get that. I get that. But it's not something that I always ever. It never comes easy to me, that's for sure. Right, and maybe half of that is because I can't relax in the dam.
Just chill out, Angus. Just exactly. Maybe that is a thing. We need to do a bit of a test there. But it is good, isn't it? Like, I guess it's just adventuring, isn't it? Like, can I do this? And trying to pit your skills against what the environment's going to throw at you. And hey, we don't exactly know that on race day, but hey, if we simulate that, get out in different conditions, as Fiona said, off Sumner Beach or off a nice sort of sandy beach that's not too steep, launching and surfing in, etc. Hey, there's every chance that you should have a good day as well.
Absolutely. Well, we'll continue the kayak theme, and as Keith actually made mention there, our next guest, Todd Kraiger, who has put together River Ninjas, a business to bring the kayaks to you, which is probably, like you said, Richard, one of the best things that's ever happened in recent times, really making it available for anyone to come and actually do a multi-sport, because getting a boat is not something that everybody has, right? Not everybody just happens to have a boat there. So welcome, Todd. Welcome to the show, mate.
Hey, Gus, how are you?
Good, mate. Good.
Excellent.
That's awesome. Hey, Todd, tell us a little bit of background of River Ninja from your perspective. How did you get off the ground? Why did you get off the ground, and why the River Ninja name?
Well, I'll come to that in a second, Rich. I just need to go back to something Angus said earlier on. I'd like to say challenge accepted. When you first mentioned about going down the Bonds Bay, I've been sitting here jumping on the screen, looking at the elevation, looking at the road. Yeah, I'm going to back myself to do
Job's
it.
on.
So,
mate, I know your pedigree, and I'll back you as well. I know you'll get down there. That's no problem.
Yep, hard as nails.
Yeah. But go back to your question, Rich. The reason we started River Ninja Rentals was, I guess I describe it as, I know what everybody who starts out knows what it's like for most people who are starting into the sport, starting from scratch. They just don't know what the hell to do, where to go, what to do, who to ask, who to see, all those things. And I remember when I decided to get into multisport, I watched Braden Curry finish the kayak section, and he was running up to the bike, and I looked at my wife, and she looked at me, and she stuck her head down and went, "Oh my God." I said, "Yep, I've got to give it a go." And then the first question was, right, what do I do? I need a paddle. I need to learn how to paddle. Oh, Steve Gurney. I think he's pretty good. Looked up Steve Gurney, jumped on his website, got a hold of Steve. He caught up with him. The very first day I met him, we're in a cafe, and he's pushing chairs and tables out of the way, and we're doing exercises on the floor. And the next time, first time on the water, over by Mount Pleasant Yacht Club, I'm in a Barracuda, Beachcomber Barracuda, sea kayak, most stable boat you can use, and I am twitching to buggery, trying to stay upright. And within 10 minutes, he's like, "Right, let's go." He's like, "Well, we finished." He goes, No, let's go. We're going out there. It's like, "But that's the sea, Steve." Like, yeah, let's go. And it was just the enthusiasm of someone like that, just really getting you going. And then from there, it feels like a Team CP advert tonight, but from there, I got a hold of Rich, and from there, that was my first coast. And again, not knowing what to do, where to go, all the questions, and you helped me achieve my mission of longer stay, and it's up there on the wall.
I saw that behind you.
Of it. Yeah. So so moving ahead to now, last year I had fortunately we sold our business, and there was some funds available to give it a crack. And because it's always hard trying to find a boat, trying to work out what to do, where to go. So we thought we'd give it a go. We just thought we'd try it. We put on a fleet of boats last year, and started advertising, got the website up and running. Team CP extremely supportive of putting athletes our way as a big bonus. Then we worked with a little bit with Canterbury Kayaking and definitely Top Sport to getting boats to people. And I go back to the reason we're doing this is summed up in our very first hire. There's a guy, Ben, came out of Auckland, rang up, booked a boat, booked it out about 2 months in advance, flew down here. I messed him with the boat. He went on the water, did a couple of Woodstock runs, handed the boat back, went back home to Auckland. And it's like, that's our ideal client, someone who needs to, don't want to cart their boat all the way down, or it's just not feasible to do it for a weekend trip or a day trip. So that was ideal. And from there, we really want to give the people that are hiring our boats the best experience we possibly can, make them as relaxed as they possibly can. And as I say, hey, the gear's for hire, but everything else is free. And the first point to make is that we are not coaches. I mean, that's what you're about. That's what Top Sport, that's what Canterbury Kayaking, Ben Philly, all those guys, that's what they do. They're coaches. We're not coaches. We're there to support help the athletes find the right gear, get on the water, and just have a damn good day out. That's what we're about.
But you're not just the boat, are you? We're not just talking the kayak. You can a whole 9 yards.
Yeah, so we do everything. So we've got the kayak, we've got obviously making sure they're suitable for whatever race they're doing. But generally speaking, they've got the airbags in them if they're supposed to have airbags, or the sea kayaks where they've got the sealed compartments, so they're okay. We've got helmets, we've got PFDs, we've got paddles, jackets. We can help source anything else. Like one of the local companies, Paddler Zone, is they're very good for us, and we use them a lot. And we get clients from overseas wanting to get gear, and I've said, hey, look, if you want to get anything organised, get it sent to me as well. If you're going to order online, send it to my place. When you come and pick up the boat, I'll have your parcel there. So it's just trying to help them out. Help them with logistics is the best way. And then on logistics, transport, it's always a nightmare for people trying to work out transport, and they don't necessarily understand from overseas what we have to do to transport the boats around. So, we've got roof racks. We don't have roof racks, but we have the soft foam cradles as an easy option for people to use. So we hire out the foam cradles. We hire out 4 straps so they can tie the boat around the middle, tie the ends, so they've got the front and the end supported as well. And if necessary, we're more than happy to take them to the start of the race and pick it up at the end of the race to save all that logistics as well. So we're trying to offer as much as we can, and hopefully deliver on what we say we're going to deliver on as well.
Good job, Todd. That's awesome. So what have you got available, and which boats would you recommend for the Clifftop Challenge?
Can I just jump back one step? Sorry, Rich.
Yes.
One thing we've also got too is we've secured an insurance policy. So my broker I use in my day job, I talked to him about insurance and the fact that kayaks, they try to get kayak cover. So anyone that hires from us can also take the insurance option, and that means they're covered in storage, in transit, on the water. So they're fully covered, and that's up to full replacement as well. Yes, there's an excess on that as well, but that's something that gives a lot of people a little bit of peace of mind around that. So that's one thing there. As far as the race goes, we've got sea kayaks, we've got the beginner boats. So we go from sea kayaks, we've got Ruahine Shadows and Flow Aspires, Flow Rockstars and Flow Rush as well. So obviously the Rockstars and the Rush are the guys that are used to handling those boats and know how to use them. Generally speaking, I would say for this event, looking at the short course and the long course, I would probably go something a little bit more stable, either a sea kayak or go to a Ruahine Shadow or a Flow Aspire. I think they would be the type of boats to use. On the short course where it's on the estuary, I think you can get away with pretty much anything. But one thing you've got to remember on that long course is, as Fiona was saying before, and I think Keith even said it like this, if you do have a swim, you're not going to be able to touch the bottom and stand up and sort yourself out. So if you're going to use something like one of the multi-sport boats, then definitely get a hold of Sam at Canterbury Kayaking or Kate and Len at Top Sport and get some rolling practice. I think it's definitely a good investment for that event, especially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what you're saying is go more stable, just so you can focus on putting the effort in rather than wobbling away around the course. Yeah.
Well, like Keith was saying, let the boat do its thing. So you don't really want to be fighting a boat and fighting something you're not used to, and the conditions. We all know those conditions could change as they're paddling around the course. So they could be nice and flat 1 minute, and then a little bit choppy the next. I went for a kayak with Chris Stagg a couple of years ago, and we took off from Governor's Bay. It was like flat glass. It was beautiful. We went over to Quail Island, went around Quail Island for a run, and we got back to our boats, and it was like, ooh, this is going to get interesting to get back because it was choppy. So we ended up paddling way up north, trying to slowly cross the harbour and get it as close as we could to the hills before we could actually find a decent enough weather to turn around. And that was within the space of an hour. And the same thing had happened at the Bonds Bay. Like, that's pretty exposed there. So stability. I would always go stability. That's my biggest advice.
Yeah, good stuff. No, that's awesome. And one question you haven't answered, Todd. River Ninja, how did you get your name?
Oh, sorry. That was a friend a few years ago. So when I compete, you sweat, and when it sweats, I get real stingy eyes. So I always wear a headband. And I rocked up to I think it was the first kayak course, and someone's like, "Oh, River Ninja! Oh, look at that, River Ninja!" And it's just kind of stuck. And I thought it was quite ended up getting a little bit of a, we got a design made last year. I put it to someone to say, I wouldn't mind, let's expand this out a little bit. This is before the kayak business came along. So we did this little logo that we've got with a ninja. Looks quite, sharp. And then instead of 2 swords, it's a couple of paddles. And then the swirl behind it represents the river, the road, and the run for most multi-sport events. And it's quite apt for the Bonds Bay, for the Clifftop Challenge race. I mean, there's plenty of those aspects in there. So yeah, it's not just River Ninja. It's kind of tying it all in around the multi-sport stuff. So, but yeah, that's how the River Ninja came about, and it seems to have stuck.
Nice. I'm just disappointed didn't we abandon it tonight, Todd? That would have been so much better.
It's in the wash. Next time.
You know what you need? You know what you need, though? You need like a True Fleece one.
Oh, exactly. That's very good. I should get onto them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Some River Ninja True Fleece eye stoppy stingery thingy device.
Yep.
There's a real market for that.
Absolutely. There is definitely.
Good job. Hey, how do people find out more? Oh, sorry. Carry on, Todd.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, on our website is probably the best place to go to. So riverninja.co.nz. We actually have an events page up there as well, and it's not events that we run; it's events that are available for athletes to try and to do. And looking at recently, the YMAC Classic came out, and it was sold within a couple of hours. I missed out on it. But then this is a great event to have as a backup for people who want to do some training, because most people tie like the classic weekend, they'll do a long run and a long bike and a long paddle. And this Clifftop Challenge is perfect for those that haven't managed to get into the classic race. Then come along and do the Clifftop Challenge. It's fantastic, and there's definitely elevation. There's definitely, and even like the short course. One thing I like about the short course is it's the resistance training. You're on the estuary, it's going to be a little bit sluggish, so it's good resistance training. So this is a perfect event for those that couldn't get into the other event.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just really roughly, what's it going to cost me if I want to hire one for you for the Clifftop Challenge? I want you to take it over there for me and take it home again. I need some gear. What's that going to cost me, Todd?
Yeah, well, I was talking to Kerry the other day, and I was going to get something back to her, and I haven't told her yet. But what we'd like to do is we'd like to really get behind this event. And so we're going to drop 15% off our hire rate for the boat. So for argument's sake, it's $105. So it's 15% off that for a boat. And we'll do it for the gear as well. Transport-wise, I have to work it out a little bit more. But what I'm trying to do is the more people we can get, the more we can spread those costs. So it's not about me making a whole lot of money. It's actually trying to say, let's work out something that's cost-effective for people to come out of town, come here, and we can meet them at Le Bon's Bay with the trailer and the gear and everything. So we can work something out. And I'll flick some information through to Kieran. I might even put up a thing on our webpage that's got a rate for the Clifftop Challenge, a special introductory, first event deal. Because I reckon this is going to be a great race for people to get into.
Is the code Angus or something like that? Like, is there a special code there? Like, I'm sure you do an extra special deal. Shove that even further for Angus, couldn't you?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Oh well, we might do something. We'll see what we can do, but we're definitely going to support it with a discount to get people involved.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
Awesome. Thanks, Todd. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, well done. Love your enthusiasm, Todd, and thank you so much for supporting this event. And love what you're doing in the multisport community to help get people active and get people involved and decrease some of the barriers that are out there of actually getting boats and obviously supporting and helping people to do that as well. So congratulations, well done. Keep up the great work, and we'll look forward to catching up with you over there as we grovel up that hill together.
Exactly. I'll be backing down for the trailer.
Yeah.
Beep, beep.
Very good.
Done.
Thank you,
Okay,
Jason.
Todd.
Okay.
Yep.
See you.
Thanks.
Bye.
See ya.
I don't think he was picking up what you were putting down there, Rich. I think you were like challenging him into to being there. If he's going, he might as well go for a little trot.
Yeah, well, that's why I thought that was happening. There was two things I was putting down there: A, that Todd's on the start line, and B, that you're on the start line. But I don't think either of those sort of come
No,
across.
missed that bit. Missed that bit.
Both of you were like just trying to deflect those.
We were
those
just
questions.
peddling around you, mate. We were just picking another stream and peddling past. Yeah,
you were just straight back. You're not going to have a piece of that.
No, you should know. So Todd is amazing, and what he is actually doing, like, you just can't say enough for someone to invest all that money into a rental fleet to really take away the difficulty of doing this whole boat thing. Some good value there to be had. Really appreciative of Todd coming on tonight and giving a discount away for that. But I've seen him work. I've seen his work ethic. He is absolutely amazing to work with. If you're hiring a boat, you will get everything you need, and he will just make sure it's perfect for you and work out how it all fits. It's bloody great.
Totally. He's just wants to help, doesn't he, basically? So yeah, you will be looked after. So yeah, drop him a line, jump on his website and get organised for Clifftop Challenge. So also it sounds like there's boats still available, which is also important when we're sort of thinking along these lines of coming in and hiring one. Don't leave it to the last minute, please.
I'll just wait a bit longer then.
Hang on. I'm just online ordering one at the moment, Angus.
Hey, speaking of good products, of course, True Fleece, who are the sponsors of tonight's podcast for the Clifftop Challenge and a really big event partner as well. We are giving away a beanie and or buff, depending on what you would like to choose. All you've got to do is comment on the show, however you're watching this on Facebook. Just drop a comment and we will choose a winner. If you're listening to this as a podcast, well, just jump on Team CP Facebook page and send a message to say, hey, just listen to the Clifftop Challenge episode 2. I've learnt lots about paddling. Or something, or Angus shouldn't enter at all. That's not best for him. Maybe would also be a good comment for the safety of everybody. And we will at the next episode give away, draw that winner and give away either a True Fleece beanie or a buff mate.
Good job. Hey, we're going to chat to Kerry Uren, the race director. She's busy lady, got lots on, and pretty keen to hear what the latest is from her, if she's in the background.
No, she's in the foreground now.
Hi, guys.
How's it going?
I'm good. I'll tell you, it's been really exciting listening to everyone talk about the race. I'm like, oh, I'm excited.
Have you got your entry in, Kerry?
Yes. Yeah, I'll be there a few hours before everybody else, so that's all right.
You'll do your lap on Thursday or something, won't you? Just to make sure it's all under control.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. No, it was it's really cool listening to everyone talking about it, and it's cool having a bit of a buzz and hearing about the paddle section because that sort of hasn't been a big area of my expertise for me. So it's been great learning a lot from people and getting the right people involved. And we've got Ben Keys, our water safety expert, and he's been great. I was actually thinking it would be great to get some tips of him getting in and out of the surf, and which would be cool. And we've also got the Surf Lifesaving New Zealand are going to have all their IRBs out on the water. So we've got heaps of. Yeah, I was just thinking when you were saying about people, if they, Todd was saying about if you're going to take a tumble in the water, well, it's going to be, we're pretty well supported. Safety is a massive thing for me. So, I want people to feel like if they're out there and they do have a little spill that we're going to be able to, there won't be someone too far away to come and pick them up and either, give them a hand getting back in I
was just thinking, Rich, and another event that we support, I got a helicopter ride. I'm just starting to wonder about an IRB ride here out in the ocean, mate.
Yeah. Could we have the CP media team IRB, like with a wee siren on it?
Yeah. Well, you could be the media out on the water, Angus. That'd be great.
How good would that be?
How much safety would you have for that to happen?
Yeah, it'd be like a live cross out in the water.
Out in the water. How good.
So dangerous.
Oh.
We'll get you in a boat, Angus. That'll save you having to enter.
That's right. That's right.
So much fun. What are your speedos like, Angus?
Okay, so where were we anyway, Kerry? Here before Richard really took us somewhere that we didn't need to go. I was up the creek without a paddle then, I tell you.
Yeah. Dead ears, not a good look. What's the latest, Kerry? What's been happening in terms of getting this thing organised and off the ground?
Oh yeah, it's just been lots of stuff going on in the background, like getting our say it's just huge part is just the safety side of it. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, and getting the right team together, and then making sure we've got all our marshals lined up. We've got great support from the local community and local groups like the Banks Peninsula Young Farmers are going to be there, and we've got some of the Lions and of course search and rescue team. They're always awesome. And then getting the surf life saving all organised. There's a lot of paperwork behind things. So that's sort of been our big thing at the moment. And that's been it lately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. And it all just goes back to that safety thing, isn't it? If you get organised beforehand, you can minimise a lot of that stuff, but you can never just stop it. It's always going to be part of people managing themselves. But obviously, as part of that briefing, as part of being prepared to turn up, that does help your job as well, doesn't it? And I guess that's part of the reason why we're putting this podcast on as well. Yeah,
100%. That's the thing. People need to read the website and read all the terms and conditions, the safety notes and things in there. So we've pretty much got most things covered. And we quite often do sort of recommend to people to go back and check often, because things change at our end too. So we might sort of change some times, or there's just little bits and pieces that we kind of update along the way. So it's good when people actually read, but it's good when people actually read the information. And and as we get closer to the race too, we'll start sending out some emails to the entrants and
So how are the entries going? We got plenty in the box?
Yes, yep, we're going great. So we just had an Aussie enter the other day. That was cool. So that's our first international. So it's always neat when you get someone coming from overseas. So it's exciting. Got some quite a good contingent in North Islanders in the multi-sport, which is cool. I think they're probably having a look at that scenery and and just seeing it's something, it's close to Christchurch too. Like I know I feel, a lot of people that like, it's like an hour and a half, but it's not that far. It's and it is in summer, or November summer. Well, Canterbury, November's good in Canterbury. So it's a good time of year, lots of daylight. So it's nice and close.
Nice work. And we talked a lot about the multi-sport event as part of this course, but it's not just that, is it? We can turn up and do the run. And this run course, like when I first looked at the course, like, oh my gosh, 31 Ks as a multi-sport race. Maybe I'll do the short one. That was my first thought. And then as a result of that, I was like, actually, maybe Kerry's thinking more from a running perspective, because that's a big job to come out as a run, 31 Ks as a running event. That's a really nice distance as a long endurance off-road trail run, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think the really big part of it is getting on that farm, because you just can't go on there any other day of the year. So we're really lucky to get that farm, and it's a unique property too. Like, it was cool hearing Fiona talking about the deer, and you get to go way out there, way out the heads of the peninsula, and just go and experience the rugged terrain, and just get to see out the ocean. I mean, you might be ships, you might see all sorts of things out there, and of course that lighthouse, which is really cool. Sitting way at the top of a 200-meter cliff, and we're going to have an aid station out there, and the whole thing's pretty unique on that farm.
Yeah, good stuff. Hey, tell us a little bit more. One thing you do well with your events is your volunteers and the people that sort of help just run that event. Tell us a little bit more about that, and then also aid stations that are out there on course as well. This is really more for me, just to make sure, see what treats are online and what I don't need to take with me as I'm out and about.
Yeah, we're pretty big on having a sort of a buffet style aid station. Like at our Mount Oxford race, we have pikelets and jam and cream and all sorts. So we kind of try and lay it on a wee bit and make it a bit of fun for people. But the huge part of the race, I think, is the crew and the volunteers. And we're always really lucky. We always get really cool people come and say they want to help out. And I mean, if there's anyone out there that wants to be part of it in any of our races, we love having people. They're always sort of outdoorsy and it's fun. I think people get a lot of motivation as well, seeing it from the other side and actually seeing the range of people that do these races. And you might look at someone and go, oh, they don't really, you kind of have a vision of someone like you, Richard. And then actually sometimes you see someone come past and you're like, wow, I wouldn't have picked that they could do that. And then they're, and you just see that, anyone can do it if you're fit and you keep training. And so it's fun being on the other side as well, and not just having to be the one who's doing the actual race. So yeah, no, it is. It's fun, and we've got some cool spots for that. We've kind of picked the scheduled the aid stations of when you're going to need them, and then and then of course where the views are. So we've kind of tried to put them in the best spots. So
good. So if I'm in the deepest, darkest hole and I was like, I really need an aid station right now, know that there's a top of the hill. It's probably going to be just up there in a nice spot with a good view.
Yeah. So we've got one right at the top of that gnarly climb. So there'll be some pretty be some people that will probably want to collapse at that one. So we've got one there, and then we've got another one. We've obviously got the one at the sort of transition zone at the race village. And then when the runners are heading up that sort of pack horse track, that's going to be a pretty epic climb up there. And then we've got one at the top, which is sort of where the farm, where the wool shed and all that is. We've got an aid station there. And then after you've done that really cool run, like Fiona was saying, through the wee creeks and through the forest and that, and then you're going to pop out at the lighthouse, and we've got another aid station there. So that one will probably be the most spectacular, and all the run, the 10, 15 and 31 will get that aid station. It'll be a pretty amazing experience standing out there and having a wee bite to eat and a wee drink looking out at the ocean. It'll be wicked.
I hope you don't put deck chairs out, because you might not move people along. They might just get a little bit comfortable.
Yeah, we'll hide. Well, they'll be there for the marshals, but we'll hide them for the runners. Yeah.
Okay, that's all right then. That's good. You're encouraging people to make a weekend of it. What are the options there? Could you just go over those for us again? We talked a little bit about those in the first podcast, but how do we make that more of a weekend? Because it's a bit of a trip to get out there, and it's an amazing place.
Yes, it is. And I think, well, first of all, Akaroa is only like half an hour away. So if you've got someone who might not, they support you but don't want to spend the day at a race, you can leave them in Akaroa and just pop over the hill. So that's definitely an option. And then we've got the farm. We've got a little camp spot. The farmers have turned into a bit of a spot. So that's going to be wicked. So you can book a campsite, and they've got a wee gas shower in the wool shed. It'll be pretty cool experience. We'll get some toilets up there. And then the big thing that happened last week is we've locked in Kaimai. They are doing all the food for the event. So we've got a Friday night barbecue, so you can buy a meal ticket for that. And they'll do some burgers, and they do a spit roast, so there'll be some pulled pork and that kind of thing. So and then the next morning we'll have a breakfast down at the race village for people who want to buy a meal ticket. So if you don't want to, even if you're not staying there, you can certainly buy the breakfast, and they'll do some fresh fruit and things, and then also bacon buddies and that kind of thing. So that's been really cool, because they are the owners of the Akaroa Fish and Chip Shop. So we all know how good they are. So and they've been over. They did when Godzone was over in Akaroa, they did the food over there as well. So they've got a really cool setup. So we're really excited. It's all about supporting local too, and making sure we're kind of using the local people for the race.
Have we got that all-important coffee cart?
Yes, we got Jamie Lee. She always comes to our races at God knows what hour in the morning. So she's awesome. So if you've ever done Oxford, she's up there she turns up just before 5 o'clock in the morning, and she makes best hot chocolate too. So if anyone's into them, she's great. So yeah, and then and also there are the batch owners too at Le Bons Bay. So we have a little note on our website if there's someone. So there's a few of them that they don't actually advertise them. They're not like on holiday homes or Airbnb. They actually just, if you get in touch with us, then we can point you in the right direction. So yeah, there's lots of options to stay.
Yeah, good. So was there a tent option there as well? Is there a flat spot to put my tent up?
Yep. So we'll do that up at the farm. So there's just a little drive up the farm, and so that'll be really fun. There'll be a really cool atmosphere up there, and you can just pop up and down the hill on the road, not the climb. So you can drive up and down, and then it'll be awesome.
You're going to pitch your tent next to my caravan, are you, Richard?
Next to your IRB, Angus.
Yeah.
Leave underneath that. Sounds good. No, that's awesome, Kerry. Anything else to add? Anything else to share? Anything else that's top of mind in regards to the Clifftop Challenge?
No, I just think we're getting really excited about it. It's fun doing something different, and I just feel like it's just another cool race to have on the calendar. And I'm just thinking when Keith was talking, and sometimes it's a wee bit of a side note, but sometimes when you meet people and you feel like they've been an athlete forever, and then you find out that Keith, it was 2015, you're like, that's not even 10 years ago, and it's cool. So if there's anyone sitting there thinking, oh, I'd love to do something like that, but I don't know if I'm brave enough, I just reckon just jump in and give it a go, and maybe, do the short course so you're in the estuary, and if you're not as confident, and, if you want to just come and do the 10K and walk around the farm, I kind of feel like it's going to be challenging, but it's certainly achievable if you put in some work. There's, still plenty of time to get out there and get fit and ready for the day. So just want people to come and support it, and we'll make sure we give you a good time.
Good job. Well done, Kerry. Hey, keep up the great work. Love your enthusiasm, and really looking forward to being there in November and making this event a special one. And Angus is going to start his IRB training, is he?
Yeah.
Actually, I actually know someone who knows how to pilot one of those things, and he may even be there. In fact, he's probably an old athlete of yours too, Richard. To be fair, so
right, okay, right. Well, we did start doing some work on that. Make sure your microphone's waterproof, Angus. We're coming in.
Coming in hot. How's that salt going to go in the back of the iPhone, mate?
Don't think about that too much. Just to get amongst it. It's good. Hey, Kerry, thank you so much for your time. Keep up the great work, and we'll look forward to catching up with you soon.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Well done.
Thanks, Kerry.
Lots of ideas. Dangerous, this episode, hasn't it been?
Hasn't it been dangerous? It has, but just a good buzz, eh? Just a good buzz around this Clifftop Challenge. And like we opened the show with, it's great to have another awesome multi-sport race on our doorstep in Canterbury. And as Kerry just said, they've got a heap of North Islanders coming, showing that the country does actually want these multi-sport races.
Yep, absolutely. And as I say, also like it's as a running event as well as its own thing. Like there's you don't have to just do that multi-sport event. Go and get amongst that, and there's a lot less admin involved in just turning up with your runners and going exploring.
Too right. Just to wind the show out, mate, don't forget True Fleece event partners of the Clifftop Challenge. We are giving away, as we've mentioned through the show, a beanie and or a buff. Make a comment, send us a message, tell us you've listened to episode 2 of the Clifftop Challenge podcast, and we'll draw a winner before the next one. Yeah, good stuff. And good, well done to Nikki Keard, who did that for us from last show. So that'll be on its way in the mail for you as well. So thanks to Kerry, thanks to the team at the Clifftop Challenge, thanks for True Fleece, and thanks to Todd and Keith and Fiona for giving their time up and sharing their expertise in this episode as well. Absolutely. Clifftop Challenge, take a trip to the wild side, clifftopchallenge.co.nz, 4th of November 2023. Get online, get your entry, and we will see you there. Thanks for joining. Till next time, over and out. Good job. Well done.